Thank you all for joining today's October GSA ITC educational series. This month event is going to follow the October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So for this event, we're going to focus on cybersecurity. So with that being said, our topic is highly adaptive cybersecurity services, HACS, insights and benefits. I'm your host today, Rick Freeman, and I work under GSA ITC in the Customer Strategic Solutions Division, alongside my co-hosts Jennifer Yee and Joshua Ramos Cruz. They also work alongside me in the GSA ITC CSSD. Today we're gladly proud to have Malia Wan and Andrea Marshall from GSA's ITC IT Security Division. So without further ado, please take it away, ladies.
Great. Thank you so much, Rick. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month. My name is Malia Wan, and I'm an information security specialist with the IT Security Division within GSA's Information Technology category. My colleague, Andrea Marshall, is also on the line and will be joining me in today's discussion. And we're also joined by Dodie Brownridge, who is one of our technical subject matter experts and who has graciously agreed to answer the Q&A questions. So feel free to pop those in the Q&A pod throughout the discussion if you'd like. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I'll begin today's session by giving some background on the IT Security Division, or as we call ourselves, ITSD. And then we'll take some time to go over some of the drivers that emphasize the need for cybersecurity services, like high-profile incidents and administration policy and directives that support our solutions. From there, we'll discuss GSA resources for 3 government IT priorities, including Zero Trust Architecture, known as ZTA, Cybersecurity Supply Chain Risk Management, as we call it C-SCRM, and Application Security Testing, or AST. We'll then discuss the highly adaptive cybersecurity services special item number, or HACS, which is a dedicated contract solutions for cybersecurity services available on GSA's multiple award schedule. And finally, we'll share some other cybersecurity resources GSA provides to our agency customers. And feel free, as I said, to pop your questions in the Q&A pod as we go along. Next slide, please. Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. So I'd like to take a moment to start and introduce ITSD, what we do, who we work with. At ITSD, we play a key role in agency IT modernization. We manage the highly adaptive cybersecurity services special item number on GSA's multiple award schedule called MASS. Our team conducts oral technical evaluations for prospective vendors looking to join the SIN, and also works with external partners to ensure the SIN is capable of meeting emerging cybersecurity needs. For IT customers looking to understand emerging technologies or obtain cybersecurity solutions through GSA contracts, we provide buyer's guides, toolkits, ordering guides, templates, and other resources. And lastly, we assist agencies navigating the complexities of their cybersecurity acquisitions. Our subject matter experts are available to assist with market research, statement of work, or request for quote reviews, and can also provide acquisition-based or acquisition training focused on our GSA cybersecurity solutions. Next slide. Thank you. So we don't do this alone. We rely on our partners to deliver excellent solutions to our agency customers. Within ITC, we work with other IT divisions to ensure federal, state, local, tribal, and other eligible buyers get the best acquisition and category expertise for their agency requirements. Within the Federal Acquisition Service, we support the Office of Customer and Stakeholder Engagement to develop and advance strategic relationships with our agency customers. Outside of GSA, we partner with the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, known as CISA, and the Office of Management and Budget, or OMB. These partnerships help us ensure our contract offerings address emerging threats and are capable of supporting the latest technical standards in cybersecurity and administration policy and directives. For example, our subject matter experts participate in working groups with CISA, NIST, and OMB to support the deployment of post-quantum encryption standards. This helps ensure the cutting-edge products and services that protect against the threat quantum computing poses to classical computer systems. It ensures that that threat is available for combat on GSA contract vehicles. And we also engage regularly with industry and academia and participate in partnerships such as the Advanced Technology Academic Research Center and the American Council for Technology and Industry Advisory Council. Partnering and engaging with these groups allows us to stay informed of the developments in industry and trends in emerging technology, like artificial intelligence and quantum computing. It also provides the opportunity to conduct vendor outreach to expand the range of products and services available through GSA contracts. Next slide. Thank you. So now let's shift focus to some more recent cyber incidents. These events not only highlight the growing threat we face, but also emphasize the need for robust cybersecurity programs. I'll start by touching on the 2024 Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report. This well-known annual publication identified over 12,000 incidents within the public sector worldwide. Of those, 41% were classified as external breaches, underscoring the importance of establishing resilient cybersecurity defenses. Over the past few years, high-profile incidents resulted in the compromise of the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of systems and data. In May of 2024, there was a ransomware attack against Ascension, a healthcare system that operates 140 hospitals in 19 states and the District of Columbia. Because of the attack, Ascension hospitals were forced to cancel procedures and divert ambulances away from their facilities. Then there was the recent breach of over 100 organizations' data from the cloud storage company, Snowflake. As a result of this breach, AT&T's customer data, such as subscribers' calls and text records, were leaked on the dark web, and hackers have been able to extort millions of dollars as a result. Between 2019 and 2020, hackers compromised the SolarWinds network monitoring platform and were able to pass malicious code disguised as legitimate software updates. This compromised hundreds of customers, including federal agencies. And in September of 2022, the Los Angeles Unified School District, the second largest public school system in the US, experienced a ransomware attack that compromised student assessment records, COVID-19 test results, and driver's license and social security numbers. So when targeted in a cyber attack, organizations can incur costs related to damage, destruction, or theft of data, lost productivity during system downtime, ransomware payments, reputational damage among customers, partners, and suppliers, and legal costs incurred with regulatory fines and damages paid through litigation, for example. Research from the firm Cybersecurity Ventures estimates the cost of cybercrime will reach 10.5 trillion by 2025. So these are just a few notable breaches that illustrate the importance of leveraging available cybersecurity services to protect your digital infrastructures. And next slide, please. Thank you. So now I'd like to review some of the recent legislative and executive mandates driving the cybersecurity marketplace. One of the most important policy directives is President Biden's Executive Order 14028 on improving the nation's cybersecurity. It contains provisions to strengthen cybersecurity defenses by improving threat sharing capabilities, modernizing cybersecurity practices, enhancing software supply chain security, and improving incident detection, response, investigation, and remediation capabilities. And in accordance with this EO, OMB Memoranda M-2209 established milestones and deadlines that agencies must achieve as they implement their zero trust principles on your network. So the Federal Information Security Modernization Act of 2014, or FISMA, is one of the main pieces of legislation containing cybersecurity mandates. It requires agencies to report major cybersecurity incidents and data breaches to Congress and requires OMB to prepare an annual report to Congress on the state of the federal cybersecurity practices. As part of the FISMA annual reporting, inspectors general perform audits of individual agencies' cybersecurity practices to assess maturity and identify any gaps. OMB releases memoranda outlining the areas against which agency cybersecurity maturity will be assessed. I'd also like to point out the White House Office of the National Cyber Director's National Cybersecurity Strategy and the National Cybersecurity Strategy Implementation Plan. So these documents outline high-level administration priorities in cybersecurity, including improving the defenses of federal networks, securing critical infrastructure, strengthening IT supply chains, countering cyber criminals and foreign adversaries, improving the cyber workforce, and increasing cooperation with our allies. So now that we've covered some of the critical breaches and mandates, I'd like to dive into the top cybersecurity priorities for the administration to advance federal networks toward a zero trust architecture. So next slide, please. Thank you. Okay. So zero trust architecture, or ZTA as we call it, is a strategy for employing zero trust principles to protect information systems. So unlike traditional perimeter-based network defenses, which assume anyone within a network's boundaries is trustworthy, ZTAs work by shrinking and even eliminating zones of implicit trust on a network. Some of the important principles to achieve a ZTA include never trust, always verify. And this means that users' identities and interactions are constantly, consistently authenticated and validated to ensure trustworthiness. Another principle is least privilege, deny by default. Here, users are only given access to resources they need, such as data, applications, or devices, and the lowest level of privileges needed to do their job, no more. And next, we have the full visibility and inspection. So under this principle, users' behavior, interaction between resources, and other events on the network are monitored to detect anomalous behavior that might indicate malicious activity. And lastly, continuous management, where the effectiveness of security controls is regularly validated. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so unfortunately, ZTA is not an out-of-the-box security solution. Each agency begins its zero trust journey from a unique starting point with varying needs to enhance their security posture and mature their capabilities accordingly. CISA developed the zero trust maturity model, which agencies can use to assess their current zero trust capabilities, identify gaps and measure progress towards higher maturity levels. The CISA maturity model organizes zero trust capabilities into 5 pillars, each supported by 3 cross-cutting capabilities. These cross-cutting capabilities include visibility and analytics, automation and orchestration, and governance. The 5 pillars are identity, devices, network, applications and workload, and data. So across these pillars, maturity can be assessed at 4 different stages, ranging from traditional to optimal. Each stage requires greater levels of protection, greater levels of detail and complexity for adoption. And the required level of effort and realized benefits will significantly increase as maturity progresses. Next slide. Thank you. So implementing and maturing zero trust capabilities is complex, and there's no single product, service, or solution that can achieve the goals of a ZTA. A truly effective ZTA will incorporate technologies that authenticate, monitor, and validate users' identities and trustworthiness. It will also automate security monitoring and connect tools across systems, analyze user behavior and other data to observe real-time events and proactively orient network defenses. These technologies will also identify, monitor, and manage devices and other endpoints on a network, control and manage access to and data flows within networks, and secure and accredit applications within a technology stack. We recognize that procuring these products, services, and solutions to implement these practices can be an intricate process. So to help federal buyers, IT buyers, we've developed ZTA buyer's guides that discuss the zero trust principles. These also discuss technical components of ZTA, describe an organization's users and resources, and identify GSA contract vehicles that can be used to acquire these components. And since civilian and DoD agencies follow distinct requirements and frameworks for advancing their zero trust capabilities, we've developed a tailored guide for each to assist in acquiring the capabilities to meet their specific models and requirements. I encourage you all to check out these guides. They're on our ZTA website, and that website is gsa.gov/ZTA. And there are a plethora of resources on that website, so please do visit. Next slide, please. Thank you. So now that we've spoken about ZTA, I wanted to touch on another IT security priority, which is cybersecurity supply chain risk management, or C-SCRM. So as supply chain risks become more prevalent and complex, it's important to understand the drivers and policies shaping C-SCRM practices and why it's essential to your cybersecurity strategy. The administration has made securing the nation's IT and operational technology, or OT, supply chains a focus of cybersecurity policy. Disruptions and incidents within IT supply chains have multifaceted impacts on government agencies and their cybersecurity posture. They can lead to degradation of critical missions and business processes, as well as costly financial impact. They can also leave sensitive agency data vulnerable to compromise. So occurrences like the recent pandemic, weather events and natural disasters, conflicts around the world, and disruptions to major shipping lanes create physical supply chain issues that can have far-reaching and long-lasting impacts. For example, in late 2021, a COVID-19 outbreak in the Zhejiang province, home to the world's largest cargo port, resulted in quarantine and mobility restrictions for thousands of workers. As a result, shipping times from China doubled, and the cost to ship goods quintupled, excuse me. In May 2021, the container ship Ever Given ran around the Suez Canal, blocking traffic for 6 days. Over 200 ships carrying about 25% of 1 month's maritime volumes were prevented from getting through the canal. The financial implications were significant, and it's estimated that the blockage disrupted almost $10 billion worth of cargo traffic daily. So cybersecurity incidents at IT and OT providers can also have significant impacts for downstream customers. The SolarWinds breach and the recent Snowflake attack highlight how adversaries can exploit these vulnerabilities within technology providers to compromise government organizations and critical infrastructures downstream. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the rise in frequency, sophistication, and the impact of supply chain disruptions prompted numerous legislative and executive actions to enhance the safeguarding of the federal government's IT supply chains. Within the federal executive branch, agencies are mandated to implement C-SCRM practices based on standards and guidance established by NIST. Many of these requirements have also been incorporated into the federal acquisition regulations to ensure that companies who do business with the government, including their suppliers and subcontractors, abide by these standards. Executive Order 14028, which I discussed previously, requires NIST to develop guidelines and requirements to improve the government's supply chain cybersecurity controls and strengthen secure software development practices. In addition to EO 14028, several other executive orders have been issued to strengthen the resilience of the US supply chain, such as EO 13873, which is titled Securing the Information and Communications Technology and Services Supply Chain, EO 14017, America's Supply Chains, and EO 14034, Protecting America's Sensitive Data from Foreign Adversaries. These EOs collectively recognize the need for federal executive branch agencies to help protect national security interests and address risks associated with information and communication technology supply chains from our foreign adversaries. There are also 2 important NIST publications related to developing C-SCRM practices. NIST Special Publication 800-161, Rev 1, provides guidance on the development of C-SCRM strategy implementation plans, policies, activities, and risk mitigation using a multi-level approach. NIST Special Publication 800-171, Rev 3, detailed security controls needed to safeguard federal controlled unclassified information in non-federal information systems and organizations. And any business that is part of the Department of Defense, GSA, or NASA supply chain must implement the security controls detailed in this publication. So next slide, please. So we understand that navigating and complying with C-SCRM requirements can be challenging. So to further support customer agencies' procurement, we've published a C-SCRM acquisition guide, and that's available on gsa.gov/IT security. And as the ZTA webpage, the IT security webpage also has a plethora of resources. Please do visit. The C-SCRM acquisition guide was created with input from C-SCRM subject matter experts from GSA and NIST, and it discusses various ways cybersecurity threats can be introduced into the supply chain, which include counterfeit products or components, the delivery of products with malware, security vulnerabilities in systems and networks used by supply chain partners, and the theft or altercation of system data. Many of these risks are associated with lack of visibility or understanding of product and service development, integration, and deployment. And to mitigate these risks, the C-SCRM acquisition guide discusses processes, tools, and guidelines to conduct supply chain risk assessments, referred to as SCRAs. And it provides information for agencies seeking to acquire SCRAs, tools, and associated analytical services. It also includes information on GSA contract vehicles that agencies can use to acquire these services. It includes case studies, examples from vendors offering SCRA services, and best practices for developing acquisition documents to procure these solutions. I'd now like to hand it over to Andrea to discuss some other essential aspects of cybersecurity and explore additional resources GSA provides to our agency, to our agencies in strengthening their supply chain. So over to you, Andrea. Thank you.
Thank you, Malia.
You're welcome.
Why AST? Next slide, please. Why AST? As Malia just explained, there are various ways cybersecurity threats can be introduced into our environment. One of these ways can be through security vulnerabilities in software. That is why we want to also touch on application security testing, or AST. AST ensures that vulnerabilities within an agency's applications are identified and remedied before they can be exploited. AST is an important part of the software development lifecycle and involves a number of tools and tactics to mimic attacks and find vulnerabilities in software. Secure software development is an administration's cybersecurity priority, and AST helps achieve that priority. Robust AST practices enable agencies to identify security vulnerabilities in their applications and take action to address them. If vulnerabilities go undetected and unremedied, adversaries can exploit them to gain privileged access to networks, applications, devices, and data. A recent example that underscores the importance of mature AST practices is the discovery of critical security vulnerabilities in the Log4j error logging software. Log4j is one of the most frequently deployed pieces of open source software and is typically deployed as an embedded component within an application. The vulnerabilities discovered allowed adversaries to remotely insert and execute malicious code on applications with relative ease, which can have severe consequences. To mitigate the risk associated with this and other vulnerabilities, organizations can leverage AST tools and practices to identify impacted systems and applications. They can then begin to take steps to mitigate risk and patch vulnerabilities. Next slide, please. AST Buyer's Guide. Development and testing team use a variety of tools and techniques to perform security tests on software and identify vulnerabilities. To help agencies procure the tools, services, and solutions needed to advance their AST capabilities, we've developed an application security testing buyer's guide. This guide contains a discussion of AST and why it's important, information on automated and manual testing practices, a list of AST tools and services available through GSA contract vehicles, and implemented considerations when developing an AST program. The guide is available for download at gsa.gov/AST. Next slide, please. Multiple award schedule, or MAS. Now that we've covered some of the main priorities for cybersecurity in the federal space, I'd like to discuss how to acquire solutions to address them. We'll dig into the HACS SIN shortly, but first, I'm going to provide some background on multiple award schedule, known as MAS, which is the contract vehicle that houses the HACS SIN. Federal agencies and eligible state, local, tribal, and territorial entities can use MAS to order over 7.5 million products and services from a diverse group of suppliers, including small businesses. New suppliers are added on an ongoing basis. The products and services offered through MAS are categorized into SINs. I do want to point out that we are aware oftentimes multiple services are required or requirements are needed for complete solutions. In that instance, an agency would place a GSA e-buy order on the SIN that encapsulates the predominance of work, and write in the solicitation that vendors may utilize other SINs to create a complete solution. Ordering agencies can award firm fixed price, labor hour, and time and material orders against MAD, and can establish blanket purchase agreements, or BPAs, for reoccurring acquisition needs. Next slide, please. Benefits of HACS. Now that we have an understanding of MAS, let's talk about HACS-CN, which again stands for the Highly Adaptive Cybersecurity Services Special Item Number. The MAS Special Item Number for HACS is 54151 HACS. HACS. The HACS-CN was developed in collaboration with GSA, OMB, and the Department of Homeland Security to provide government organizations access to technically evaluated cybersecurity vendors to combat continuous threats and adhere to the numerous executive level IT security requirements. Through HACS, agencies can acquire a wide range of cybersecurity services to support the priorities we've discussed today. The HACS-CN offers an access to a pool of over 600 technically evaluated cybersecurity vendors, with the majority of those vendors being small business. GSA uses a two-pronged approach to evaluate prospective HACS vendors. The first is an administrative evaluation, which includes a review of relevant project experience, led by GSA's IT category schedule. The second is a technical evaluation, led by the IT security division, that consists of an oral technical evaluation where vendors are asked questions related to the HACS subgroups for which they are applying. Before becoming a HACS-CN vendor, they must demonstrate their experience and subject matter expertise. The second layer of evaluation is unique to this SIN, and many agencies are drawn to the SIN for this added layer of technical evaluation. Agencies can take advantage of FAR Part 814 ordering procedures to rapidly order and deploy cybersecurity services and reduce open market ordering and contract duplication. Lastly, our GSA cybersecurity acquisition experts stand ready to support customers who need assistance, and we have multiple resources available to assist agency in placing orders. We can also share those details with you at the end of this presentation. Next slide, please. HACS services and subgroups. The HACS-CN is organized into five subgroups, inclusive of a full scope of cybersecurity services and agencies are able to procure. The first subgroup is the high value asset, or HVA assessments subgroup. The HVA assessment encompasses risk and vulnerability assessment, security architect reviews, and system security engineering. It also includes risk management framework and security operations center services, which may include information security, continuous monitoring assessments, and federal incident response evaluation. The risk management framework, or RFM, process is an important component of the cybersecurity lifecycle and details the steps agencies take to secure information systems, assess risk controls, and monitor risk to systems. Security Operations Center, or SOC, serves many services that may include support activities such as monitoring and analysis, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, incident assessment and response, and insider threat hunting. The next HACS subgroup is risk and vulnerability, or RVAs. RVAs evaluate threats, vulnerabilities, determine deviations from acceptable configurations, enterprise or local policy, assess the level of risk, and develop and recommend appropriate mitigation countermeasures in operational and non-operational situations. The third subgroup is penetration testing. Penetration testing is security testing in which assessors mimic real-life attacks to identify methods for circumventing the security features of an application, system, or network. Next, we have the incident response subcategory. Incident response services help organizations impacted by a cybersecurity compromise determine the extent of the incident. remove the adversary from their system, and restore their network to a more secure state. And our fifth HACS subgroup is cyber hunt. Cyber hunt activities involve responding to crises or urgent situations within the pertinent domain to mitigate immediate and potential threats. Cyber hunt services start with the premise that threat actors known to target some organizations in a specific industry or with specific systems are likely to also target other organizations in that same industry or with the same systems. The HVA, RVA, and penetration testing subgroups are mandatory HACS subgroups. The base pass or fail oral technical evaluation consists of questions related to these three subgroups. If the vendor requests and has offerings that align with the two optional subgroups of incident response and cyber hunt, additional questions pertaining to those subgroups may be added to the oral technical evaluation. Next slide, please. HACS current cybersecurity priorities. The HACS then offers a number of solutions to support major administration cybersecurity priorities. It offers multiple solutions to help agencies implement a ZTA, which Malia spoke to earlier. They can use HACS services to assess the current state of their security posture and identify any gaps in their capabilities. HACS vendors can also provide services to assist in security monitoring and incident response and recovery activities. Agencies can also look at HACS, RVA, and penetration testing services to enhance their AST capabilities. Lastly, the HACS then offers services to aid in defending networks against advanced persistent threats, or APTs. APTs are highly sophisticated cybersecurity attacks, often perpetrated by organized crime or nation-state adversaries that can cause significant damage to federal networks. Agencies can leverage HACS cybersecurity services to carry out proactive threat hunting activities to detect adversaries in their networks. They can also use HACS incident response services to remove adversaries from their network and restore functionality after an attack. Next slide, please. Now for buying HACS. For agencies ready to begin their HACS acquisition, we have several tools to help you get started. On GSA eLibrary, you can search for HACS vendors, view their terms and conditions, price lists, business size, and social economic designations. You can also view vendors under each of the HACS subgroups. GSA eBuy allows offering entities to issue a request for information, or RFI, to gain feedback from industry on how individual vendors' capabilities can support their cybersecurity requirements. For help getting started with an RFI or request for quote, previous HACS solicitations are available to view on GSA eBuy Open. If you have a draft performance work statement or a statement of work completed, we invite you to contact us for a free HACS scope review. If you're not sure what HACS subgroups may support your requirement, we can provide guidance on that as well. Next slide, please. HACS tools and resources. Our team has developed multiple tools to help procure these services. On the GSA Acquisition Gateway website, you can find several useful tools to aid in your HACS acquisition. Our HACS toolkit contains all of our tools and information to make procurement of cybersecurity services easier for you. The toolkit includes a HACS SIN ordering guide, which includes an overview of the HACS SIN services and benefits, a description of the HACS mass IT ordering process, step-by-step guidance when ordering HACS, and resources to find more information on ordering. It also links to several useful GSA resources for preparing a solicitation, such as eBuy, GSA Advantage, and GSA eLibrary tools. Another tool in our kit is a request for quote and statement of work templates. These serve as companions to the HACS ordering guide. The statement of work provides a standard contract language that can be customized to best fit your agency's needs and to get a head start on the requirement development process. It also helps identify tasks and knowledge areas related to various cybersecurity services. You can also find the HACS independent government cost estimate tool on the acquisition gateway. This tool estimates the general cost range for a potential cybersecurity service contract. It uses rates from proven cybersecurity vendors developed with publicly available labor rate information. We have also informational HACS videos that identify GSA resources and tools available to agencies looking to fulfill cybersecurity requirements. The videos provide common use cases on how agencies can procure HACS. You can find these videos and more on GSA's Office of Information Technology category YouTube page. Additional HACS resources are available on our dedicated website. The website addresses on this slide are where you can find general information about HACS, ZTA, AST, and purchasing resources and support. And finally, our buyer's guide and technology book, which include listings of contract solutions to obtain ZTA, AST, C-SCRM, APT, and quantum information science and technology related products, services, and solutions. These resources can help acquisition personnel, network architects, and cybersecurity professionals identify a broad range of products and services to develop, implement, and mature cybersecurity plans. I encourage you to visit our IT security webpage at www.gsa.gov/IT security and buy.gsa.gov to locate these resources and to learn more about key concepts and considerations when implementing a cybersecurity program. Next slide, please. Since HACS additional GSA contract solution. Since HACS centers primarily on services, I also wanted to point out that if a government entity is seeking cybersecurity hardware and software, agency can use best in practice mass hardware and software CINs to purchase cybersecurity products listed on CISA's Continuous Diagnostic and Mitigation, or CDM, approved products list. Products on this list have been technically evaluated by CISA to support the objectives of CDM. You can visit gsa.gov/CDM to learn more. GSA also offers several government-wide acquisition contracts, or GWACs, that agencies can use to procure IT services. These pre-competed contracts offer flexible access to customized IT solutions from a large, diverse pool of industry partners. To learn more about these contracts, visit the GSA IT Contract Vehicles and Purchasing Program webpage on the screen. You can also visit GSA eLibrary to view vendor listings, contract and pricing details, and other information. Next slide, please. Contact information. We have several team members that stand ready to provide both technical and acquisition expertise. Our technical experts offer free scope reviews of your solicitation to make sure the requirements have been filled by specific CINs. You can also reach out to the customer service director, who is your agency's GSA assigned point of contact for acquisition related questions and support, or locate the national account manager dedicated to your agency at GSA's Find Your Account Point of Contact page. In addition to customer service directors, national account managers are available to assist with agency-related procurements. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us at any time. This concludes our presentation today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for that great presentation. We'll now open it up for questions. There were a few questions that came in through the chat. The first question being, is this event allowing one COP? And yes, we are providing one COP for this event. The next question was from Ms. Pamela Scott. What monitoring and analytic capabilities are necessary for ZTA? Mr. Doty in the background answered, agencies must understand their network to know what and when to protect areas on the network, then knowing what systems and services it takes to implement that level of security needed. We have another one that was from Mason Lacey. If an agency has a need for IT security support services to protect with, to assist with their ATO process, which subcategory would be most appropriate? High value asset assessment or risk and vulnerability assessments? And Doty answered that the ATO process will fall under the RVA category, the risk and vulnerability assessments category. Yes, we will try to get the slides out to everyone. Are there any other questions? Silence is golden. All right, cool. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Malia and Andrea for that great presentation. Thanks Doty for answering all the questions in the background. You guys did really, really well. I want to again thank the audience for joining us again for this month's educational series, learning about the insights and benefits of the HACS. Also, I would like everyone to join us in our next event, which will be held December. And that one will be an overview of the buy.gsa.gov. So please join us for the next event, and please be on the lookout for the, yes, I will hand out a copy of the slides. Yes, please be on the lookout for another registration link that should be coming out in the next few weeks. Thank you so much, and please enjoy the rest of your day and have a safe weekend.